Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I am Shatea Williams. I am the outreach coordinator at Moms in Motions, and we welcome you to another episode of Voices in Motions, where we highlight valuable voices, resources, and companies within our community that make a real difference in the lives of individuals with disabilities and their families. Today, we're super excited to welcome SAMi, the activity monitor. And if you don't know a little bit about SAMi, it's a smart video monitoring solution designed to bring peace and mind to families, whether your child has epilepsy, autism, a developmental disability, or any other condition requiring nighttime supervision. SAMi may offer a safe and affordable way to help. So joining us today, we have Matt Anderson and Trevor Larson. And Matt is the CEO and son of the parents who founded SAMi, and Trevor is the VP of Business Operations and a family friend of the Andersons. So thank you both for joining us today, and we're super excited to have you here and telling us why you created SAMi and how it works and its impact on the community.
Thank you, and thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. I appreciate that. Um, Nice to meet everyone, and happy to be here to share a little bit about our small company and what it is that we're doing to try and help a variety of families out there. I want to encourage folks as we go through this that if you have questions and you feel free to use the comment section here. Trevor is in the chat, if you will, and he'll be able to answer questions as you go through them. And I'm also happy to pause and speak to anything that really needs more discussion. So with that, I guess I'll jump right into it. Again, that was a fantastic intro. So my first slide is really about who we are and what the story is. So my parents did invent SAMi. It was a product that we used very heavily in our own home. My younger brother, James, he developed nocturnal seizures when he was a kid, and they turned into a variety of different sleep disorders. He had some behavioral issues as well. The product became a lifeline for our family. Anyone that is dealing with nocturnal seizures may know that things are uncertain, things can change, they can happen out of nowhere, they're quite unpredictable. So for us, this was really the product that my folks created to allow themselves to sleep at night. They needed a way to be alerted if my brother was up sleepwalking or holding his breath during sleep apnea events, or having a seizure, so that they could respond if they needed to. And the other thing it allowed us to do was actually document quite a bit of video evidence of these events, which diagnostically made all the difference. So again, we're a small family business. We're entirely owned by the family, and we consider ourselves to be very mission driven. So really, we're families like yours in a lot of ways. That's at least how we think about it, and we care a lot about the folks who use this product. So there's a big focus on US based customer support and just providing as much support as needed for the product. Okay. Really quickly, what does SAMi do? It's quite simple. We detect abnormal movements during sleep. This can be a variety of things. I'll go into it more during later parts of the presentation, but whether it's a seizure that has a motor component to it, it can be behavioral. Some people simply use the product to alert them if someone is up and out of bed and playing in the middle of the night when they really should be sleeping. If it doesn't look like sleep, we can probably alert you to it really reliably without waking you up with false alarms throughout the night. I'll speak more to that later in the presentation too. And then there's the alerting aspect of it. So whether it's in your home, we can do remotely. So if they're staying somewhere else and you want to do it over the internet, we can do that as well. And up to 4 people can consecutively be monitoring the same person at the same time, and each of them get their own settings for how the alerts work and whether it's recording, that sort of thing. Of course, recordings. So that's a major feature of the product, is Documenting video evidence, at least for families like ours, it's been critical to optimize treatment and understand how things were changing as the years progressed. And something unique that we do, as opposed to any other motion recording camera, is that we will back up 10 seconds before the motion began and start the clip there, so that you get an entire view of the event start to finish. This is a really quick video that we put out. It's a quick summary, and I'll just play that really quickly if that's okay. It explains exactly why the product exists, the different solutions we tried, and some of the plights of people trying to do nocturnal monitoring.
When we found out our son was having seizures at night, we couldn't sleep. We'd lie awake.
I want to make sure, can people hear that actually, or no? I'm going to assume yes.
I can hear it, so it should be fine.
Okay, great.
Listening and worrying because we didn't have the tools to know when something was wrong. Traditional baby monitors left us exhausted because we'd wake up to any little sound. We tried having him wear a seizure monitor on his wrist, but we either missed the alarms or got too many false alarms. We needed a more reliable solution that we could trust. So we trained a night vision camera to alert us to these events. And the recordings it made helped us find the right treatment with our doctors. This system worked so well that the Epilepsy Foundation helped us turn it into a real product. This became SAMi, the sleep activity monitor. SAMi is used nightly by over 10,000 families, caregivers, and individuals to detect, record, and alert to a range of abnormal movements during sleep. Using our free SAMi app, you can access a live video feed, customize alarm sensitivity, and access an organized library of your past recordings and so much more. SAMi's default settings work for most, but you can easily customize them if needed. SAMi changed our lives and gave us the peace of mind we needed. We hope it can do the same for you.
Okay. So that's a much more well-articulated way of explaining things than I would probably do live on the stream here. That's the product. That's the need in a nutshell. Typically, we're asked, who is using this product? It's primarily used by folks that are dealing with nocturnal epilepsy, seizures of some kind. It can be people of any age. We have folks that are monitoring newborns all the way up to, people that are older, older adults. And the use cases, we're actually still understanding all of those. There's quite a wide variety of things. So again, seizures is the primary use case, but the way that the system is set up, it's quite configurable, which means if you want to detect something that's very, very subtle, like eye fluttering or breath holding, things like that, there's ways to set the system up that it can alert you to very subtle or complex motion without, again, alerting to every little thing throughout the night. That's a major focus of our product, is trying to figure out how do we really recognize what normal sleep looks like and not alert when someone is safe and not having an issue, right? So it's also used in and outside of the home. It's important to note that. So the system can operate as a fully offline closed loop system, meaning if you have access to power, then you can monitor using our internal Wi-Fi network. That's 256-bit encrypted, very, very secure, very reliable. As long as you have access to power, you don't need the internet, you don't need cell service or anything like that. This thing will stay connected. So people take it on the road, they use it in hotels. It's really designed to be both great at home or wherever you need to take it. Main use cases for our community, primarily, again, with the epilepsy focus, it's always been about reducing the risk of sudden unexplained death in epilepsy. Really, anyone could have a seizure at any time in the night, and you're not going to get any warning of it. So it's often used as a fail-safe, just, people that are seizure-free even for years, uh, they may still be monitored because it just takes one really to be a medical emergency. So as long as the system is set up and something were to happen, then you know that you're going to be alerted to it. Um, a lot of folks in our community and our user groups are getting away from co-sleeping. So again, if you're worried something is going to happen to your loved one in the middle of the night, you may be sleeping in the same room or the same bed or taking turns with your partner. We ourselves as a family did that for quite a while, and it's not sustainable always. So the idea was we really needed a solution that would allow us to move away from a co-sleeping arrangement, but still feel safe that we were going to be alerted if something happened. Um, Definitely finding the right diagnosis. We hear all the time that people get a new diagnosis. Their doctor finally is able to uh, well, I'll just tell you the story with James. The story with James was that because of the subtle movements in my brother's right hand at the very beginning of his seizures, that was the tip off for our neurologist that he actually had a left hemisphere origination for his seizures, which put us on a completely different treatment track and got us in to an EMU and um, really put him on the path towards ultimately having a frontal lobe resection, which worked quite well for a number of years. Um, how does it work? It's pretty simple. It's a lot like a baby monitor. So we stream the video audio to an iOS device. And the magic is really in the temporal and spatial algorithms that we have written and refined over the last 10 years to differentiate normal sleep movement from abnormal movement. This is a really quick demo. I'm not sure if we have to get into this or not, but yeah, let's go ahead and watch some of this. This is actually quite useful. I do want to preface it by saying this was created over 10 years ago, I think at this point. So the product has improved quite a bit, but fundamentally, um, a lot of the main core functionality, actually all of the main core functionality is essentially the same. It's just improved and more flexible and more robust at this point.
This is a quick demo of the SAMi Sleep Activity Monitor. The SAMi camera is installed on a wall opposite the bed.
So a quick distinction there. You can put the camera on a flat surface. You can put it on a wall. You can put it on the ceiling. We also have a floor stand that my colleague Trevor developed that has a gooseneck on it. So there's a lot more mounting options.
The iPod is located in your room. When the SAMi app is launched, it automatically connects to the camera and displays a live video stream. The camera has a microphone that is easily turned on and off. The camera is very sensitive to motion. In this setup display, the red shows the motion that the green meter is measuring. SAMi will ignore short movements such as rolling over. If motion continues, an alarm sounds. The display switches to live view and the microphone is turned on. All motion is recorded. SAMi makes it easy to quickly locate and view recordings of interest. Recordings made during an alarm are marked in red. These recordings are saved until you delete them and are easily shared with your doctor. SAMi is highly configurable. You may choose to use the alarm or just use SAMi for making recordings. When using the alarm, you may schedule the on and off times. There are also settings for alarm and microphone volume, for brightness, for motion detection thresholds, and region. This has been a very brief description of the SAMi Sleep Activity Monitor. For more information, please visit our website.
Okay, so Again, that was, I think, 2011 when we made that video. The product has evolved and changed over the years, but a lot of what you just saw there still is very much true. There's a lot of caregiver features to basically tell the system how you want to be alerted. We have many different alert types. So some people want something really loud or something quite jarring, as opposed to other people who want something softer, less less stress inducing. So we've really put a lot of thought and time and attention into listening to customers over years about how they'd like the product tweaked. And being a private company that is wholly owned by the family, we really have the ability to prioritize adding the features and the functionality that people really wanted, that weren't necessarily about growing the business or about entering new markets. It was about really making this thing the best possible solution for the most number of people within this segment. We mentioned an iPod in there. It's really any iOS device. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, that's typically what people are using to monitor. If you're not sure if you have the right device, we're more than happy to talk to you about that. And you can actually get one through us as well, if you would just like us to provide you with one. Yeah, the abnormal movement alarm, this is the core of the product. This is what we're really known for and what people purchase the product for. So you can choose how much motion over what time period, whether it's rhythmic or non-rhythmic, more complex types of motion. We have people that use this again for something as subtle as eye fluttering or wiggling of toes, to fully being out of bed and being active kind of movement, and anywhere in between. So main types of movement that we're typically looking for: shaking, jerking, spasms, pedaling, rocking, twitching, eye fluttering, toe wagging, sleepwalking, restless legs, coughing spells, vomiting, crying. Playing non-sleep is a big one. And I would say, just in general, if it doesn't look like sleep, we can probably alert you to it while ignoring the other stuff. It's just about finding the right settings, which we can help you with. And yeah, again, recordings are important. They really are a game changer. Explaining to a doctor what is happening, how often it's happening, sometimes the nuance of exactly what it looks like is going to change everything. Our first neurologist for the first couple of years actually told us that my brother's seizures were, sounds like sleepwalking. I wouldn't worry about it, which we knew just couldn't be true. It just didn't feel right for us. But as soon as we got video of these events, it became clear, and we immediately got that right diagnosis. Yeah, this is, again, a recap, right? There's benefits to doctors. So this is a new angle that we're really starting to explore, because frankly, most of the folks that find out about our product find out about the product through their neurologist or through another family. So neurologists do like these things. It really helps them understand exactly what it is that's going on without having to rely on reporting from a caregiver or a parent. Something could feel like it lasted 5 minutes, but only really last a minute in reality. And that could be two completely different, that could really impact the assessment, right, at the end of the day. Yep, just some testimonials. Dr. Edward Ma was my brother's neurologist. He's our medical advisor. He was an early and strong proponent, or kind of supporter, of the product and the value of nighttime monitoring quite early on, as well as the value of these recordings, which again really help him understand, especially for the folks like my brother, who you can't just bring into an epilepsy monitoring unit and induce a seizure. He would, not have a seizure for a week and then come home and have one right away. So we never got great data while in the hospital. And in his opinion, he's basically told us a number of times, if it's about diagnosing epilepsy, I'm extremely accurate with the video alone. Give me patient history in a video. That's almost as good as a video EEG, which is really their gold standard for diagnostics. We have a few different product options. These are all available on our website. We basically offer just the camera, and you can use your own Apple device and your own home Wi-Fi or local Wi-Fi network if you have home internet. It's really designed for that sort of situation. We offer one with a router, which is like, I have my own Apple device, but I want the dedicated secure private network that allows you to travel as well. And then complete kit is, we add in an iOS device as well as a case and a stand with it. So that's your sort of out of the box solution. And that's primarily what all of the charities that purchase our product for people are getting, the complete kits. A lot of waiver coverage we're finding out about. And again, we're a small organization, so I wish I could say more about Virginia and the waiver programs or the Medicaid programs that we're covered under today. We just don't have the staff to actually explore all those things just yet. But what we see is that typically when people are getting this covered on a waiver, you get the complete kit because it's still under, that threshold of some amount of money that, it's still relatively inexpensive. But the product is in general priced for direct to consumer. So we don't count on insurance coming through. We try our best to make this product affordable to anyone, even if they don't have access to insurance coverage. Yeah. Oh, we also offer 45 days totally risk-free. So if anyone is curious and wants to try the product, we're more than happy to send one out. And if for some reason it's not a good fit, sometimes we hear about kiddos not liking having, a camera in the room, and you can't get around that, right? So at the end of the day, if it's not going to work for you, just send it right back to us. We are more than happy to take that back, and we provide a full refund on that. More information about how to get SAMi paid for is on the website. So if you actually go to our website, and one of the tabs on the very top is the funding guide, ways to pay for SAMi, I think is what it's called. And we've done our best to collect as much information as we can about the Medicaid waiver process and what is necessary to get the product paid for. And then, of course, if you're running into red tape on that front, we do have private organizations that are willing to pay for the device in circumstances where it's not covered by insurance, and they're really fantastic. I mean, they buy thousands of these a year for people. We also have special deals with them that allow them to basically buy it at cost so that their money goes as far as possible. Again, we're very much mission driven. We're just about trying to help other families like ours at the end of the day. So yeah, I think that's basically everything. Oh, I can go into this a little bit. I feel like it's a little bit overkill for this kind of presentation, but I can make a copy of this presentation available to anyone who would like it. There's just a few other ways to go about nighttime monitoring, baby monitors. You have your wearables, your mattress monitors, and there's certain differences between what we can do in those. And I think that's the end of the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Matt. We have two questions. One from Kay, and she says, does insurance pay for the device, specifically Medicaid? And Amanda wants to know, that would be my question, if Medicaid Centera would pay for the SAMi device.
Great question. And I wish I had a straightforward answer for you. It turns out, and I didn't realize this when we really started looking into it, we actually never even asked people how they were paying for the device up until about a year and a half ago. And that was something we started doing. And when we got into it, we realized, wow, the health insurance industry as a whole is very, very complex. And the Medicaid
Mhm.
system in particular, I mean, state by state, there are different rules, totally different rules. So, as a small operation, we are always trying to slowly learn about different states and the particular rules in each state, but it's so situation dependent, and it's all about, what programs do you qualify for in what state. And in Virginia, we don't know a ton yet. I'll be totally honest with you. All I can say is that we have a template medical letter of necessity on the website. How folks normally work is if you have a case manager, then you can work through the case manager. We get that covered all the time in all sorts of states. So I don't want
Yep,
to
that's
say yes.
correct. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
in Virginia, individuals who are on waivers, they have funds for environmental modifications and assistive technology, and this would be counted as the assistive technology. So what you would just do would be go through your case manager at Centera or whoever your MCO is, and then they will assist you with that. And we'll also drop that link to the member guide for environmental modifications and assistive technologies in the chat.
That was a much better answer.
Yeah, every state is different and it's so complex. So,
It really is. I mean, we see people actually get this covered under private insurance frequently too. What
mhm,
typically it requires is an appeal, but if you appeal it, then they approve it. So
mhm.
even if you're not on the Medicaid program, that's something we're learning about too.
Yep, that's just what Kay said. She said, have to have a denial from Medicaid first. Thank you, Kay. Let's see. Does anyone else in our who are live with us have any additional questions? So I do have a question. I know you said the full package comes with the own router, correct?
Yep.
So I guess with the router, that means that the device is HIPAA compliant and secure for any sensitive information.
Yeah, so it's a fully offline system,
Mhm,
meaning that the camera talks to the router, which talks to the iPad, and nothing touches the internet, nothing touches,
mhm.
um, uh, no one could access it via a cell network. Um, it's really fully closed loop and secure offline is the way that that operates with that router. So, yes, there's nothing being stored in the cloud. We as a company are not collecting anything, period. So,
Mhm.
nothing regarding recordings, even if you're monitoring through the internet, there's just technically no infrastructure on our side to collect any of this. This is fully your data. It lives with you, the individual, and there's no cloud feature for us to even collect those. So,
Awesome. I think that's really great. And Kay wants to know, are you all working with Android systems?
wonderful question. That is an active discussion inside our company right now. We hope to build an Android version of our application. I don't want to put a timeline on it. The reality is that it's very expensive to hire someone to do the full translation to Android. And with our mission of making this as financially accessible as possible to as many folks as possible, um, uh, it's stretching the budget. So we're trying to prioritize Android and hope to do it, within the next year, because so many people have asked for that. Really, um, yeah. I hope that answers the question. Not today, unfortunately.
Thank you. And then I do have another question. How
Mhm.
long do the recorded videos stay on the device?
Right. So indefinitely is the answer.
Awesome.
So the way that this works, right, is that the camera itself has a 32 gigabyte micro SD card that you can pop in and out of the camera. We provide one with
Mhm.
it. and your first 1,000 recordings up to 5 minutes long will live on there. And then if you have storage on your Apple device, you can basically collect thousands and thousands of videos on these things, and they won't be deleted unless you run out of storage, at which point the system is set up to start deleting the oldest, shortest recordings that were never viewed or locked or associated with an alarm. It basically makes room for you, and it'll notify you of that before that happens, though. So yeah, it's not like they disappear after a week. You know, you've got years old recordings on these things. Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any other questions from our audience? So I think that concludes our questions. And if someone who ends up watching this live at a later date, if they have questions, how can they contact you?
Yeah, I encourage anyone watching here or in the future to reach out to us through our website. We have a little chat icon on the website, and that is not a bot. That is not someone outside the company. That is responded. The responses on there are either myself, Trevor, Cynthia, or Charles. We're more than happy to get in touch with folks. Just send us a quick question there. Easy for us to respond. And if you want to hop on a call, just let us know about that and a good time to call. And we're happy to do that too.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So,
thank you for having us.
Of course. Thank you for joining us today. You guys are a great organization, and we thank you for sharing your time and your insight. We know caregiving never stops, even when the sun goes down. So we thank you all for sharing this. And if anyone is looking for a copy of this video or would like to share this with friends or family, the video will be available on our Facebook for, I believe, a month. And after that, you'll be able to find it on our YouTube channel. So,
amazing.
Yes. So if you guys would like to learn more about SAMi, I will drop their website in the chat one more time, just so you guys can copy the link. And we are so glad that you all were able to join us, and join us again for our next Voices in Motion.
Thank you.